Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us virtually to celebrate our 2021 Junior Achievement Hall of Fame laureates. My name is Sarah Juk, and I'm the President and CEO of Junior Achievement. I've been waiting over a year since joining the organization to recognize this class of laureates that we selected in February of 2020. We recently inducted our laureates into the Hall of Fame at an intimate event and can't wait to share their stories with our broader community today. Each of their stories is unique, and you're in for a treat as we hear more about Dorothy Bridges, Beth Ford, Ben Fowke, Jeff Gow, and Ron James. Congratulations to this fantastic group of leaders. This event wouldn't be possible without the generous support of our sponsors. Thank you to our presenting sponsors, Great Clips, EY, and Delta. Thank you to our inspiring sponsors, Land O'Lakes, US Bank, Wells Fargo, and RBC Funds. Your partnership, along with all of our sponsors, is invaluable to us. Before we get started with the laureate videos, I wanted to give you an update on our organization and programming. Like everyone, we had to embrace change and uncertainty in the last year, but we're feeling poised for our next season of growth. As we prepare to welcome students back to in-person learning, we're excited to see concepts come to life again through our hands-on learning experiences. We're also grateful for our innovations in the virtual space that were essential for our programming last year. These will continue to enhance access for more students well into the future. Our innovative and accessible service model is ready to meet students from kindergarten through high school, no matter how they are learning. We're focused on building diverse and impactful partnerships to ensure students are at the center of our work and that programming evolves to match their lived experiences. To align with our vision of equity and forward progress, I'm thrilled to share that we've changed our name to Junior Achievement North. This name represents not just a region, but a compass point to guide our work. Our board and key partners help shape this new direction to demonstrate a strong vision and a commitment to serving all students in our region. To showcase Junior Achievement North, we'd love to share a new video with you today.
I started my own business.
I started a company called No Waste with Nikita.
I came up with a product. My company is called Sock Munch. This duck here, his name is Munch. You can feed the socks through the mouth. You can put him into the washing machine and the dryer, and this way all the socks stay together.
We started off as a face mask company, and we wanted to solve the problems of everyday masks, but also uplift the community through motivational quotes on the mask.
No Waste is essentially an app-based company with the aim of trying to reduce the global issue of food waste.
I wanted to be like a coder. I originally wanted to do like educational games.
I want to become an entrepreneur in the future.
Junior Achievement is dedicated to empowering young people with the knowledge and skills that they need to plan for their future and to make smart academic and economic choices. Students who go through our program gain a greater understanding of financial literacy, work readiness, and entrepreneurship. As a trusted partner, Junior Achievement creates a strong bond between business and education leaders to inspire and prepare young people for success. Our experiential programs and dynamic curriculum help students develop leadership skills, become critical thinkers, and prepare to be the future leaders our communities need to thrive.
When I was in high school, my favorite memory of Junior Achievement was learning the stock market. That really drove my interest in getting a finance degree. Not only does Junior Achievement, when you volunteer, I think help the students, but it helps everybody around them and probably their parents too. As a student, I think it's critical for them to see us as volunteers in the classroom or via Zoom.
They also had a lot of mentors to connect to whenever I had problems with manufacturing or any setbacks. I learned personal finance skills to prepare for myself for college.
Junior Achievement is a very hands-on thing.
You can ask a lot of questions and they'll answer it with a lot of detail. Before Junior Achievement, I actually knew nothing about money.
Just being able to think of something and actually make it, it was just very exhilarating.
Junior Achievement kind of creates this sort of environment that really fosters creativity. And you do get that in school, but in a very different way.
They get a chance to develop those tools, to get to know who they are, to exercise their passions, envisioning, manifesting those visions, those things that are coming up inside of them.
Now more than ever is the time to be providing youth in our communities with an equal opportunity to build skills and confidence necessary to persist through these challenging times and into the future.
I've seen a renewed major focus on diversity, both at the board level and also at our new CEO level.
We're focused on the diversity of our staff, our board members, and our volunteers to ensure that our students see themselves reflected in the organization.
I'm really thankful for the JA community. When I was here, a lot of the students here were women and minorities, and I think that JA is a space that allows everyone to grow in development and learn about starting a business.
We want to restore hope and opportunity, particularly for our BIPOC, our Black, Indigenous, people of color.
Junior Achievement North is focused on serving students across our region and making sure that our opportunities are accessible for all students. In addition to our classroom curriculum and experiential learning labs, we've enhanced our virtual options for students.
We would meet online every week, and the mentor would teach us new skills and how we could improve our business.
I've gotten the opportunity to work with other like-minded students, a nice peer group to grow our ideas together. Gain the confidence to take my ideas, starting from nothing and building it into something.
JA North is not just like a name change. It's not we are updating our logo and we are just changing our name.
Junior Achievement North is not only a geographic footprint, it signals direction, purpose, and progress towards the future.
We are about everybody, irrespective of your color of the skin, about your financial status. We are going out with a clear statement about our focus on diversity, focus on more inclusion, more opportunities for students in bigger area.
We have a solid foundation and an incredible network of partners. We're committed to leveraging these resources to boldly move forward and expand opportunities to those throughout our entire region.
What I'm most inspired by is the level of confidence that these programs result in for students.
Junior Achievement has opened up so many opportunities for students like myself who are first generation.
Junior Achievement North has the opportunity to empower the next generation of leaders and support them on a path to a brighter tomorrow.
Business leaders and other community leaders should really look at Junior Achievement as an opportunity. It's an opportunity to invest in the future. These are our future leaders. The more we pour into them, the more they pour into our communities.
I really feel this is the best investment any leader can make into the new generation.
Basically helped me to give myself confidence.
It's very fun and hands-on.
I definitely have built my confidence and found a community that accepts me.
I've conquered so many fears along the way by participating in this program and starting a company. And I think that's really valuable, not just for people who have a similar experience to me, but for anyone who just wants to grow as a person.
Thank you again for being here to help celebrate Junior Achievement North and this outstanding Hall of Fame Laureate class. I know you'll leave feeling inspired by their stories. One programming note, Ron James was unable to be with us for the induction ceremony, so you'll see Jean Crane deliver a few remarks on his behalf. If you'd like to make a gift today to support Junior Achievement North students, you can text HOF 2021 to 50155 or go to janorth.org/donate. We're grateful to have a $10,000 board member matching challenge. Please consider making a gift that will go twice as far today as your impact is doubled. I appreciate your support. I was able to be part of filming the Laureate videos, and each time I see them, I find new pieces of wisdom to learn from. This group is a powerful demonstration of the leadership, wisdom, and determination that we seek to teach our students. Thank you, Laureates, for your commitment to excellence and your impact on our region.
I grew up in Maryland, just outside of Annapolis. My parents got divorced, so it was just my sister and my mother, and it was that way for about 10 years until my mother remarried. Didn't have a lot of money, but she always made things fun for her kids. And I kind of think the things you need to be successful in life, you learn by the first grade. And she taught me to respect people, to have ethics, to work hard, and to be willing to try new things. Those are life lessons that I think pay dividends throughout your life. I put myself through college. I had a job at night, 4 hours a night, working at UPS. But in the spring and summer, I also built above-ground swimming pools, and I had my own company. I originally did that for somebody else, and I realized I can do this. So I went out and got the contracts, got the trucks. It was a lot of work, that and going to school and the job at night, but it allowed me to put myself through college. And when I graduated with a degree in accounting and finance, I went to work for a company that is now KPMG. I was fortunate enough to get my CPA exam on the first try, and then the offers started coming in. I had a family at that time, a wife and a son, so the little bit extra money that came with those offers was pretty enticing. So I went to work for a retail firm out of Washington, D.C. called Dart Group. Started to visit Florida a couple times. My father had moved down there, and I decided I wanted to move to Florida. I took a job down on Miami Beach with a financier by the name of Victor Posner, and his company was DWG. Then I eventually moved from the Miami area up to Jupiter, Florida, took a job with a company that is now called NextEra. Got a reputation as somebody that could come in and fix a problem company that we might own or division or something like that. So that reputation eventually led to me getting a job in Colorado with a company called New Century Energies. Convinced me to come out to Colorado and move the family out there, and ultimately New Century Energies became Xcel Energy in 2000. And you might recall in the early 2000s we had our own financial crisis, and I was very involved in getting us through that, and that kind of led to becoming treasurer, then CFO, then COO, and then CEO. When I came out of college, I certainly had no idea that one day I'd be CEO of a Fortune 500 company. I have a saying here at Xcel Energy that, our assets are literally embedded in the community. So those assets aren't going anywhere, and the health of our community really reflects upon the health of Xcel Energy. So it's really in our DNA to get back, and my wife Kathleen and I had the opportunity to chair the United Way campaign in 2017. It really was a rewarding experience for both of us. We got to get out there and see some of these charities and the great work they do, and my wife really became involved in a couple of those charities post 2017. I've had the opportunity to do things within the community too, like chair the Minnesota Business Partnership, and some of the focuses we've had on education and transport, and lately, diversity, equity, and inclusion. We all live in these communities, and healthy communities are good for all of us. But for Xcel Energy, it's even doubly important. I think from a business perspective, I think I'll be remembered as, the CEO that really drove the clean energy transition, not only at Xcel, but I think across my industry. We became the first utility in the country to announce a carbon-free vision of being 100% carbon-free by 2050 and an 80% carbon reduction by 2030. We've already reduced carbon by 50%, and we have tactical concrete plans in front of our regulators to get to at least 80% carbon reduction by 2030. So I think I'll be remembered for that externally. Pretty proud of that. One of the things that I was very committed to early on is hiring veterans and giving them an opportunity. I mean, they have the right stuff, they're perfect for Xcel Energy, and we really stepped up our efforts, and we set a goal to have 10% of our hiring be veterans, and we've been successful at that. I believe the American dream is still alive, and entrepreneurship is probably the best path to capture that American dream. It really can lift people up. So I think we need to show that these opportunities exist. We need to teach people the skills, both the hard skills and the soft skills that will make them successful entrepreneurs, which will make them successful in their lives, and our country will be the better for it. It's really a noble purpose.
Good evening. I'm Ben Fowke, Executive Chairman of Xcel Energy, and it's truly an honor to be part of the 2021 Junior Achievement Hall of Fame class and to be with such a distinguished group of laureates. I'm sorry I'm not able to attend the event in person tonight, as I'm on a business trip and out of state. But I did want to share a few comments about Junior Achievement and its mission to inspire tomorrows. I'm proud that Xcel Energy has been a longtime supporter of Junior Achievement. Paul Johnson, our Treasurer and Vice President of Investor Relations, serves on the Junior Achievement Board, and he is just one of many Xcel Energy employees to volunteer their time to this fine organization. Over the last decade, Xcel Energy and our employees have contributed more than $500,000 through matching grants, foundation grants, and company sponsorships. And one of the reasons I admire Junior Achievement is their passion to inspire an entrepreneurial spirit with today's students who of course will be tomorrow's business leaders. Now, I didn't have access to junior achievement growing up in Maryland, but I think I might have been a kindred spirit. I opened my own business when I was about 20 years old, building above-ground swimming pools in the Baltimore area. At the same time, I was doing very similar work, and I decided I could go out and do it on my own. Now, that was a risk, and it took a lot of hard work, but the bet I made on myself paid off. That risk gave me the ability to pay for college by myself, and the combination of building pools and working at UPS at night allowed me to graduate from college debt-free. As I reflect on my career, starting my own business gave me the responsibility and confidence at an early age. I built on my success and stretched myself as new challenges and opportunities presented themselves. And that's why it's so heartwarming to know that 20,000 students a year have the opportunity to experience Junior Achievement's BizTown in St. Paul and learn about a variety of businesses, including the Xcel Energy Shop. And more than 100,000 students across the upper Midwest are exposed to hands-on lessons about financial literacy, entrepreneurship, and career readiness at a young age. And I'm a firm believer that concepts you learn early in life stick with you throughout your career. So thanks again for this tremendous honor, and thanks to all the supporters of Junior Achievement for helping to inspire the next generation of business leaders. Thank you, and have a great night.
I'm the oldest of 8 children. My parents were unskilled laborers. I was born in Tylertown, Mississippi. My parents moved when I was about 2 years old to New Orleans, Louisiana, so I was raised in New Orleans, Louisiana. And as the oldest of 8 children, and both parents working, you can imagine the kind of responsibility you may have at a very early age. And so my mother used to leave me with this comment: your dad and I are off to work, and you have to take care of the kids. I left New Orleans and everything that I was very familiar with and moved cross country to Montana, Missoula, Montana, where I went to the University of Montana. It was the years that I like to caption as growing years because you get to experience things that are different from what you learn as you were growing up. You know, those years also really gave me the opportunity to learn so much about not just myself, but about the world around me. I graduated and then got my first job with the predecessor to U.S. Bank, which is known as First Bank System. From there, I was promoted in various different areas in the retail consumer lending space. And then I finally got an opportunity to go to the business banking side of things, where I became a credit analyst. And so I learned a lot about financing on the business side of things. That really piqued my interest to want to learn more and more and more. I eventually, in my career with First Bank System, ended up being a president of a market for First Bank System, which was South Minneapolis, and there were 4 banks under my leadership. And so that was the first time that I got the position of president, the title of president behind my name. It was also the first time I learned that I wanted to do something more. And so I wanted to contribute a little more, and that was then the first time that I started to volunteer for certain organizations and sitting on their committees first and then their boards. And it quickly became a passion of mine, is to really give back in such a phenomenal way. Then was recruited to run Franklin National Bank, which is a community bank that's now evolved into being Sunrise Community Bank. I became the president and CEO in 1999. So I became the president and CEO of that bank, and what it did for me was to broaden my experience with not-for-profit organizations across the board, and making the realization of how needed these community groups are. My journey in the professional space ended with me leaving Federal Reserve Bank, retiring from there in 2018. And from there, you don't ride off into the sunset and never to be heard from again. My career has taken a different turn, and that is to sit on corporate board. And so I'm a board of director of U.S. Bancorp. The mentor that was the most impactful are the ones that are closest to me, and those were my parents. And the thing that I learned from them was this perseverance and really disciplining yourself to achieve success. The trials of being an unskilled laborer, not finishing even grade school, having to live in a society that, quite frankly, is racist, and having to overcome all of those hurdles and still have the energy and the mindset to raise 8 children. I mean, that was pretty spectacular. The fact that, you know, my own family history and having to face, you know, hostility and racism when my cousin Ruby Bridges integrated the schools in New Orleans, Louisiana, and how we all came together. You can't help but be motivated by that and want in some way to be a part of that success for generations to come. The other reason that I am motivated to succeed is because I want to set an example for my children. My mantra is leave things better than how you found them, especially people. And that's how I want to be remembered. Having this notion that each and every day you get up and you get energized because you want to make the world better, you want to make people around you better by what you do, by your own actions. It really does shape how you respond to things. And so that's what I want to be remembered for. Leaving things better than how I found them, especially people.
Wow. How do you follow that? So I want to begin by sharing with you 2 things about myself tonight. First, I always have a hard time comfortably accepting public recognition for what I have done and continue to do throughout my career and the rest of my life. Nonetheless, I'm overwhelmed with gratitude to be chosen as one of the 5 2021 Laureate inductees into J. Hayes Hall of Fame. Thank you. Second, tonight marks the second time in 2 years that I've worn heels. And I said that to say, my feet are killing me. So I want to make my remarks brief so that I can go back to the table and take off my shoes. On a serious note, I believe that my purpose in life is to use my talents and abilities to work toward creating a better and more just society for everyone, regardless of race, gender, cultural background, or economic circumstances. I know that most of you are familiar with an adage. Those of us to whom much is given, much is required. And it's a creed that I try to live by each and every day. This is a belief that sparks me to believe in what Junior Achievement is doing. The mission of Junior Achievement is to inspire and prepare young people to succeed in the global economy. I don't think anyone in this room could not support that mission. Also, one of the core values of Junior Achievement that truly resonates with me is the value to respect the talents, creativity, perspectives, and backgrounds of all individuals. I would add another word, and that word is celebrate. We should respect and celebrate these things. As we look back over what these last 2 years have revealed to us about ourselves, is that we need everyone at the table putting forth all of our best work. We can no longer afford to exclude anyone. There's so many people here tonight who support that, and I am humbled to be in your presence. There are also many people that I need to thank. Receiving this recognition would not have been possible without the inspiration that I got from peers, colleagues, relatives, and others for whom I have the deepest respect and who have supported me to challenge myself and to always show up performing my best. Given the time allotment, however, I will only mention a few. Let me begin by thanking JA Selection Committee for selecting me as one of the 5 inductees tonight. I am truly humbled that you chose me to be a member of such an esteemed group. When I look back over all the years of all of the past laureates, many of you are in the room tonight, I have to say I am honored and humbled by this recognition and view this as my achievements that's worthy. Next, but certainly not least, I want to thank Mr. Bill English for his wonderful tribute of words. Thank you, Bill. I don't know who that person was, but I thank you anyway. Thank you also, Bill and Freddie, for being here tonight to help celebrate this momentous and important occasion. You can't imagine how much your friendship and support over the many decades we 3 have known each other mean to me. I'm grateful. I especially want to thank my family, some of whom are here tonight with me and some who are here in spirit. To my son Myron, stand up Myron. My daughter-in-law, Shalonda. And my grandsons, Marquise and Isaiah. One of the greatest joys in my life is having this family to support and to love me no matter what. It couldn't have been easy for them to have me miss events, athletic events, or miss dinner, being at the table with them to break bread because of the long hours that I kept in doing the work that I did. I'm eternally grateful for your continued support and love. In closing, thank all of you here tonight. I'm grateful that you chose to spend this time with the 5 of us this evening, celebrating and supporting our achievements and the work of junior achievement. Thank you.
I grew up in Little Falls, Minnesota. I was the oldest of 4 boys. Upon graduating from high school in Little Falls, I went in the Air Force. And as a lot of my friends were heading off to local schools and universities, I'm going to boot camp. And I'm really glad I did that. I spent 4 years in the Air Force, and it was a good run. I got stationed in Grand Forks, North Dakota, and that's where I became familiar with the University of North Dakota, where I graduated in 1984. I actually met the founder of Marco while I was at the University of North Dakota. He was 20 years ahead of me, but Gary Marsden, who was our founder, was auditing a class, and he happened to be sitting in, and that's kind of how we met. My wife Melinda and I, we have 4 children, and we have 6 grandchildren. We get to see each other often. We spend a lot of time together. They all live kind of around the area. This is the community I live in now, St. Cloud. We raised our families here. This is still the homestead. This is the home front here. After graduating from the University of North Dakota, Marco was my first job, and really my only job, out of college. I started here in 1984, and I started as a sales rep in office furniture. I was in various leadership positions, all in sales. And I had a pretty good understanding where my skills were at. Pretty good in front of the customers. I think I did a good job attracting and keeping good employees. And still to this day, I consider myself a salesperson, I guess. I was promoted to president and had been CEO here and or president for the last 15 years. And then I retired just 3 months ago, so not long ago. And I'm really enjoying that phase of life too. It's been great. Giving back to your community, being a good corporate citizen, can happen a number of different ways. If you're doing your job right in corporate leadership, you're setting a good example. And I'd like to think, over those years that I were here, 37 of them, that I did a pretty good job of setting a good example for what good looks like in actively participating in your community. When you give back to your community, if you do your job right, lots of people will give back to the community. You know, selfishly, what I learned about that too, people like to buy from good corporate citizens. People like to work for good corporate citizens. I think that our success as a corporation, we brought a lot of people with. And it wasn't about a few key executives. And it was about a lot of people having an opportunity to develop their careers. We had probably, there's probably 160 people working here at that time. Today there's over 1,200. During my tenure, our average annual growth rate, compounded annually, about 19% every single year, top line, and more than that on the bottom line. So we had a very profitable, long run of top-end growth and bottom-line growth. That makes things more fun. If the numbers are good, the rest of it seems to fall into place. We had one of the most successful employee-owned companies in the country. We shared the ownership of the company. When we sold our business back in 2015, we had 600 shareholders, 600 shareholders. And probably the single biggest financial event ever in St. Cloud, Minnesota. I don't know for a fact, but certainly one of the biggest. On that day, in October of 2015, we created about 100 millionaires of very average people like myself that went to public school systems. We grew up in rural America. We went to state schools. You know, again, we built a good, strong, resilient business, and we brought people with. I think I did a pretty good job of having a well-balanced life. You could certainly interview my kids to check that out, or my grandkids. And I'm glad I did that, because I think if you had to go start all over again and try to reestablish relationships, I mean, doesn't that sound hard? I was glad I worked hard on being a good spouse, parent, friend, as I did on working on building an enterprise. And I think people get lost in that sometime. And I certainly recommend that you don't work too hard, because I don't know that many workaholics that are all that happy. If you know yourself really well, and you have good self-awareness, you'll realize that you're only good at one or two things. So play to those strengths. I'm a pretty good sales guy, and I'm pretty good at execution. On the other hand, we all have weaknesses, way more weaknesses than we do strengths. You should augment those weaknesses. Hire really, really well. If you get the right people in those spots, they will make you look better than you really are. People always say or ask, you know, what is the advice that you would give to somebody that was just starting out? My advice to that person would be, you gotta get comfortable being uncomfortable. Because if you do what everybody else does and you don't have the hard conversations, you don't make the hard decisions, or you're not equipped to, if you're not decisive, then you know what, you're not gonna be a good leader. So I think if you're interested in being a leader, if you're interested in making a difference, you really actually have to get comfortable being uncomfortable in order to be effective.
Well, hi everybody. Thanks for being at my last official business event as a Marco employee. Now, I've been retired for 6 months, so I'm kind of grandfathering myself back into this because this event was delayed. So this I consider to be my last event. In fact, I put a suit and tie on today and I thought, gee, it's been a while. So anyway, I want to thank especially for being here today my friends from Marco, Stacy and Kimberly, and of course Don. My brother Steve and his wife Katie. Steve's still working at Marco. Keep doing good work there, brother. My wonderful wife Melinda, one of my biggest fans and supporters. Thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it. You're a great life partner. And my dad. They referenced some of my spunk and attitude I got from him. I picked some of the good parts, and hopefully, most of the time. My dad, thanks for being here, Dad. You've always been one of my biggest fans. And at 90 years old, it's a little longer trek, right? So thanks for being here. I appreciate your presence tonight. So when I think about junior achievement, I think back to 1980s, more specifically 1985. When I joined Marco as a new salesperson, the first opportunity, and I say that with quotation marks, the first opportunity my boss gave me to volunteer was with Junior Achievement. So I said, sure. So as a young guy, in one of my first volunteer missions, I didn't know a lot about Junior Achievement, but those of you that have been involved with it for a while might recall this, or at least it was this way in St. Cloud, Minnesota. It was not in the classroom. In fact, it was after hours. It was 7 o'clock at night, in this case at the Whitney Senior Center. And trying to get young people after school, after hours, after dinner, to come to the Whitney Senior Center was a feat in and of itself. And so we really struggled with participation. Whoever came up with the idea to bring it into the classroom deserves a lot of credit. I don't know who gets credit for that, but that was a good one. Because I think we can all agree that the teachers like it, the students certainly like it, the presenters, and us as employers like it. So great idea, great strategic shift. But I also think about Junior Achievement, and I think about learning, and this is the selfish part as a CEO or a leader of a company. This is the selfish part about giving back a little bit, is if the best way to learn is to teach, and if you even kind of believe that a little bit, why wouldn't you support your employees going into the classroom, preparing a curriculum, leading students, teaching students, working with administration, and doing good work and volunteering their time? Why wouldn't you do that? That's a really good idea. And so the point is, they're learning while they're teaching. And that really is one of the best ways to learn. I do agree with that. And so that's why we support 40 schools and over 100 of our employees participate. So I think that when I think back to the 1980s, it was a great idea to teach the youth, to be involved and to volunteer. And you know what? It's still a great idea today. So the Junior Achievement, you've got our support. Keep up the good work. We really appreciate it. Thanks again, all of you, for being here. I appreciate this recognition tonight. Have a good evening. Thank you.
I'm a strong believer in purpose. I think each of us has a unique set of gifts and talents that we've been endowed with. And they don't come to fruition right away. They're seeds that are planted. But over a lifetime of education and training and development and experiences, those seeds bear fruit and they feed into purpose. Purpose is all about calling. It's why we're here. No two people really have the same purpose or calling. I was raised by a single mom who made ends meet to raise 2 boys, basically instilled in us the importance of following our dreams, but also being the very best that we could be, but embracing their efforts were the community. I grew up in the deep South in the 60s, civil rights movement, where people surrounded us and said, you know, things are changing and we want you to be the very best that you can actually be. All reinforcing that same message. Be clear on who you are and what you're endowed with, but then be the very best that you can be at that. Went to a small college in Creek, Nebraska called Doane College, and it's another lesson in persistence. I played football, went there on a football scholarship, met my sweetheart in college. We were engaged and were married, and I went to work in the telephone business. Was fortunate enough to moved pretty rapidly throughout the organization. We moved about 8 times in our first 12 years, but that gave us a chance to grow, and ultimately we added members to our family. My wife Renee and I had 2 sons, Joshua and Jordan. As I mentioned, I grew up in the telephone business. It was an interesting time because the old Bell system was just being broken up. It was considered a monopoly, and in the interest of competition, it was broken up. As it was broken up, it created opportunities to grow in a different area, but you had to be willing to let go of the old to embrace the unknown. And that became another part of my early life's lessons is don't be afraid of the unknown. Early on in my career, I would be the first one to put my hand up when there was a new venture that we were going to pursue because it was a chance to explore and grow myself as well as help the organization grow. I had taken on assignments that gave me both experience in the U.S. as well as a global footprint, signed on with the Center for Ethical Business Cultures. Over the next 15, 16 years, it gave me an opportunity to do a number of wonderful things. We worked directly with companies here locally, as well as around the country and around the world, as they wrestled with getting their culture right. I served on a 15-person task force with the United States Sentencing Commission, helping them integrate into law the whole notion of bringing together the what and the how. Over my time at the center, I worked with thousands of leaders, some in small group settings, some in larger group settings, and I got a chance to go into the classroom where I worked with tomorrow's leaders. We explored through case studies and speakers and simulations the power that ethics brings inside the workplace. And so fascinating for me was to watch the light bulbs come on and then people get back to the workplace and begin to infuse this inside of their organization. As a result of some of those experiences that I'd gained from an executive standpoint, I was invited to begin serving on corporate boards. Board service provided a unique opportunity for me to carry some of the same professional experiences that I had gained as an executive into a boardroom and offer advice and counsel to executives that were wrestling with tough issues. I grew more than what I gave, frankly, because I got a chance to work along some talented executives, very talented board members, and to help organizations perpetuate themselves for the long term. And I have to be honest and say I go back to the community I grew up in, because they surrounded me with the notion that you can be whatever you aspire to be, dream big, and keep pursuing those dreams. And so I felt a debt of gratitude and obligation to pass that same sentiment on to others that are coming to dream big, because there is potential. They can be what they want to be. Comes with hard work, but you have to dream big.
I just want to share a few perspectives on Ron James, and I think as we all go through life in our personal and professional journeys, we meet a variety of people along the way, and I have the good fortune of having Ron James as one of those special people in my life that has joined me on my journey. As the chair of the board for Bremer Financial Corporation, Ron and I have gotten to know each other pretty well over the last 5 years. And I'll never forget my first learnings from Ron. And he just had this very tremendous interest in getting to know me as an individual, because what he wanted to do was really figure out how he could best support my success and our team's success by learning more about me. And in that regard, I especially remember our very first meeting where we sat down one-on-one to just talk as CEO to board chair. And I had a very formal agenda. I had a list of things I wanted to get through. I had goals and objectives in mind for that conversation. And Ron just sat back and he was like, no, all we want to do is get to know one another. And it was really an opportunity for me to understand the importance of the fact that this is an individual that recognized these were two people that were likely going to work together for a long time. And the more we knew about each other, the more we could really do together. And so while we got through the agenda that day, I quickly learned the art from Ron of slowing things down, frankly, in order to speed things up. Because what he needed from me was to get to know me. Even though we had been through a long interview process and I thought he knew everything he needed to know about me, it was still that understanding of how I worked, how I led, and how he could be a part of that success. It was mostly about building trust. And what I learned is that the more we learned to know each other and how we could trust each other, the more we were able to put in motion and to speed things up in all the ways needed. Through the process of getting to know one another, I'd like to share a few things that I learned about Ron, his character and his approach to work. After nearly 30 years as a successful person in the world of business, Ron identified the need for the business community at large for both ethics and equity, and he did something about it. And he did something very big about it, and that very big thing was that he started the Center for Ethical Business Cultures, focusing on how to assist business leaders in creating ethical and profitable business cultures at the enterprise, community, and global levels. And it didn't take long for the importance of that work to take root. And soon the University of St. Thomas incorporated it into its business school. It says so much about who Ron is as a person, to not only start the center, but to lead it, to build it, and to maintain it for the long term. I've come to really appreciate that one of Ron's greatest strengths is to embody the value of deliberation. Ron doesn't do anything fast. He takes his time to think completely through a situation or a given question at hand. My personality is one that is a little bit more decisive and action-oriented. And Ron has taught me the importance of what I now refer to as productive methodological. Ron is really an incredibly kind person. He is a straight shooter as well. He offers candor in his feedback in a way that you not only feel the value of being supported, but also equipped to learn. I think this is a really incredibly unique characteristic about Ron, and I think it especially distinguishes his business acumen as a leader. Bremer is absolutely better because of Ron's leadership. Ron understands Bremer's purpose and its impact on our communities, and in his thoughtful and careful way, he absolutely understands his role in moving that work forward. We faced some deep challenges in the last couple of years, and throughout it all, Ron has met the challenges head on, and not in any judgmental way, but with really integrity and a lot of wisdom. Ron is steadfast, he is thoughtful, and he is deliberate about his approach. And once he has done his research and thought something through, considered all the aspects and perspectives, he makes a decision, and he remains resolute and supportive. He's a natural teacher, he's a natural mentor, and someone who has truly guided me in my continued professional growth. As I've said, our company is better off with Ron's leadership. I am better off because of Ron's mentorship. We can all learn so much from a wise and kind person like Ron James, and I am very grateful to know him and work with him. I was able to connect with Ron earlier today, and he shared some of his thoughts regarding receiving this recognition. And I'd like to read his comments for all of your benefit and further understanding this very humble and great leader. He asked me to first and foremost thank Junior Achievement for the work that you do in preparing the next generation of leaders, and also for recognizing business and community leaders. He asked me to extend his regrets that he and Renee could not be here tonight. But he also wanted to acknowledge his sons, Joshua and Jordan, who are representing their family and friends. Joshua, Jordan, can you guys stand? It's so great to have you here. Ron also asked me to congratulate his fellow recipients for all the work that you do in service to business and the community, and he expressed his humble appreciation to Junior Achievement and all the people involved, bestowing the recognition on all the recipients tonight. He also asked me to thank tonight's sponsors for their support as well. Finally, Ron shared some very personal thoughts regarding this award, and I'd like to read those directly for you. My hope is that the current and future leaders, including those whom Junior Achievement serves, will recognize, develop, and utilize the fullest their unique God-given, to the fullest, their unique God-given talents and abilities. That we work together to ensure a society where everyone has an equitable opportunity to seek and to realize their full potential, both professionally, personally, and in service to our community. My heartfelt thanks to my wife, Renee, and children, Joshua and Jordan, and friends for the love and support they have given me, and to God, who has provided all. On behalf of Ron James, I accept this honor and recognition. I know it means a great deal to him. Thank you.
We were taught we had to work for what we got. I have 7 siblings. I shared a room with my 3 sisters. I got one drawer that was mine. That was for the hand-me-downs, right? If you wanted something, you had to work for it. Because of the way that I was raised by my parents, we didn't have a lot. So if you wanted to go to college, you had to figure out a way to pay for your college. Certainly I did that. I had a lot of not sexy jobs. I feel so privileged to have been a janitor or painted houses or night cashier or walked the beans or whatever. Why? Because it taught me that those jobs were of value. There was value to those jobs, not just because I got some money for them, but because people work hard to get what they have. So I feel grateful for that. Didn't probably feel grateful then, certainly feel grateful now, and almost feel responsible for my own children having some of those lessons. Those life lessons tied to what junior achievement does as well are central to success in the future. I've always thought that the best mentor I had was my mother, and she continues to be that for me. I just think an incredibly strong, resilient woman, continued to invest in herself. And so for me, she's incredibly resilient. We didn't have a lot of money. She always made it feel okay. She's got 8 children. And so I take from that level of resilience, that continued investment, that intellectual curiosity, that willingness to convey her gifts to others is I think such a special quality for her. I want to enable others' success. The teams I've had, or the employees, or people that I've just met, investing in them, enabling others' success. And then secondly, I've really had a focus on rural communities and underinvested in communities. I want to make a change. I want to use every bit. I don't feel like I'm going to have enough time, but I want to influence change against what I see as deteriorating conditions, a lack of vibrancy, a lack of opportunity, inequities. And so I'd love for that to, if you will say it's a legacy, I'd like for that work to be important work. The most important thing you should learn is the importance of relationships. Leadership isn't about you, actually, it's about other people. And making that connection with others, they are central to a successful career. The most important decision you make from a career perspective is who you marry, by the way. Then I'm very fortunate, with my wife Jill. She's spectacular. And we have aligned not just incentives, but kind of values. That person who you marry and then the relationships you build will be critical for your career success. The second is, of course, intellectual curiosity. Continue to invest in yourself. The final thing, I guess I would say from a career perspective, is go on life's journey. It doesn't have to be linear. I mean, I've worked in 6 industries, 7 companies. I've been in publishing. I've been in chemicals industry. I've been in multiple things. But allowing yourself to go on life's journey and have success and failure, all of it is part of it. And you need to embrace and love all of it, even the failures from which you can learn. I have a tremendous confidence in the next generation of leaders. My greatest professional accomplishment to date would be enabling others' success, I believe. I can give you a list of different people that I felt, wow, they really, I helped be part of their journey. And so it's not going to be giving you a financial metric, hey, sales increased X, Y, Z, profit increased at this level, or look at how much growth this had. I'm hoping it's going to be more a note towards the lives impacted in many, many ways. Using our focus now to invest in our foundation towards rural communities, towards inequities, towards solving those problems, that will be the greatest return on investment of my time and the greatest professional result I could get. The only other message I would say to young people is it's okay being exactly who you are. You're great. You be your best self. Continue to invest in yourself, but you're great. You don't have to change for somebody else. You're not less than somebody else. We forget to remind people of that. And it's such a fraught environment in business, and everything is politicized, or social media is involved. You're great, just the way you are. You don't have to be anybody else but you. Be your best you. Show up the right way with others. I always have concern that somebody feels like they have to change to make it to be somebody else, and then they'll have better success, then they'll be better liked, whatever. No. You're great how you are. Thank you so much to Junior Achievement, to the committee for this recognition, but I would only accept this because I feel like it's still a work in progress. This feels early for me. I'm just year 3 or 4 at this job, but I'm going to say thank you, but I'm going to say thank you on behalf of my team. But the truth is that this really is, and I mean it when I say it, I speak a lot about leadership, and I talk about leadership as a team sport. You're not a leader because you say you're a leader. You're not a leader because you have a job. You're a leader because you have followership, or because you believe in others' success. And what I'd say is the folks that are here, but the folks on our team, we have aligned values, aligned mission. The people who are with us in our organization believe in what we're doing. And yes, of course, profit, growth. By the way, that 19% up number, I want a little bit of that. And I'd like to know what you pulled to the bottom line, because yows. But of course, that's the ante for the game. And of course you have to have that. That gives us permission to do other things, to see the world more broadly. I feel fortunate. I've worked in very large corporations, small corporations, private, public, and to be part of a cooperative that works together on behalf of the members. And what we've been doing is more broadly advocating on behalf of communities, of vibrancy. When we don't invest in communities, when there are inequities, it leaves all of us weaker. And I'm not sure why we all don't understand that. Not here in this room, by the way. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to others. Why we don't understand that. Junior Achievement understands that. I think they're aligned with this mission because as we've advocated for broadband technology, the greatest enabler is like electricity. It's like mail delivery. It should be a fundamental right. The greatest enabler for business, for job creation, for stability of a town, the opportunity for growth, the opportunity to shrink the inequities by making sure knowledge with organizations and from organizations like Junior Achievement is transferred to young people. That's how you can build a vibrant community. So the team is completely energized by that. And of course I get up every day energized by the business of the business, but I get up energized by what can we do and how quickly can we do it? Because we needed to do it yesterday to solve some of these problems, to solve some of these issues. And I think Junior Achievement sees that invvestment in the next generation, the opportunity to move forward and to make sure others have that knowledge, that base information. Oftentimes we'll hear from a number of folks in different communities that it's not just the technology, they need the information that the technology enables. And that's why we're so passionate, I'm so passionate about advocating on this behalf. Now, I am not silly. I would be remiss not to thank my wife who is here today. Because she's driving tonight. And you don't get to year 29 without knowing, you say a little thank you. So I thank Jill, who, as was noted by Joan, definitely married way above that. I can't land that plane twice, so I'm grateful for her. I'm grateful for her partnership. My team, to finish up my comments, my team knows that it's actually not possible for us, nor do I think it's wise for us to write a check to solve these issues. Now, we need funding for organizations like Junior Achievement that are investing in the next generation. That's absolutely important. So that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, though, that the most powerful thing we all do, and what I love about this community, what I love about the organization, and many of the leaders that are here, and I'm honored to be in the presence of other former laureates and the ones that are here today. What we all know is the most powerful weapon we have to make change is our voice, is our willingness to come together. That's what we try to do. We try to be loud and fact-based and push for policy, push for change, and tell others that they're great and we need to work together. And so I'm grateful to be here tonight. I'm honored, but I'm honored on behalf of my team because, as I say, we're still working the program, and I welcome the opportunity to continue to work with all of you, with the organization like Junior Achievement, and many of you as partners as we work to change this narrative, close this gap, and reduce these inequities. Thank you so much for your time.
As we reflect on our laureates and think about future generations they'll empower, I'm filled with hope. Through Junior Achievement North, students are equipped to meet challenges head-on and to succeed in a global economy. Thank you for being part of our Junior Achievement North community. We're grateful for your partnership and look forward to connecting in the future. Again, if you'd like to help us meet our $10,000 match today, you can text HOF 2021 to 50155. Thanks again for joining us and have a great day.